The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Ron Wheeler, and I will be your host and presenter today for the Options Paycheck. We are not going to officially get started quite yet. I just like to open the room a couple minutes early. It's like 4:27 Eastern time. We'll start the class in like 3 minutes. But I always like to start the room a little bit early. That way I know that everybody can hear me, see my voice, not really see my voice, but hear my voice, see my screen. Had to stop myself for a minute there. So do me this favor. If you can hear my voice, if you can see on your screen, it says the Options Paycheck. Do me a favor, let me know in the chat window. There's a little chat window in the lower right-hand corner of your GoToMeeting module there. I've got also my colleague John with me. He's going to be in the background, and he'll be doing a Q&A with me at the end. So you'll probably see him typing along with you at some point. And then I just accidentally opened up the wrong window there. This is why I open up the room a little bit earlier, so I can make sure that I am also ready to go. Sometimes I'm not. All right, good deal. Antoine and William and Lori and Judenkra and Tom and Charles and John and Brian and Vinod and Earl and Aubrey and Iraj and Robert, welcome to you guys. It's good to see you. I'm glad to have you with me. Will as well. I know I'm going to miss a few people, so if I don't say your name, there's like a lot of people that go through and they start typing yes, and I know I miss a couple of them along the way. So for those of you that are letting me know that you can hear me, that is awesome. I appreciate that. I am broadcasting to you live from my home office here in Northeast Ohio. I'm a little bit of South Cleveland. I'm a little bit west of Akron, right there in the heart of it all. So in case you guys didn't know, I am with VectorVest. I'm the VectorVest manager of options trading / options income coach, I like to call myself. I've been with VectorVest now for, I think, 6 years. And I've been trading for like 24 years. You'll hear a little bit about my story a little bit later. But VectorVest has an office not only in North Carolina, but we also have an office in Cleveland, which is kind of like I like to figure it's our administrative office, if you will. Our accounting team is there, and some developers, and me, and some other folks. So it's good to have you with us. Glenda, I see you as well, and Lloyd. I'm trying to go through some of the names I haven't mentioned yet. So glad to have all of you with me today. John, my colleague, he's down in North Carolina. It's kind of interesting that, it's what is today, April 29th. I did my first Options Paycheck event, like this webinar. This is kind of an encore presentation, if you will, but still live. It's April 29th at 4:29 p.m. Eastern Time, just so you know it's live. And in fact, just in case you didn't think it was live, here, I'll show you. Watch this. Watch this. I don't know. I don't really look at the website anymore. Used to be back in the day. I don't know. I was looking for a website that had the time. I'm just being silly. But, it's kind of funny. I'm in Northeast Ohio. Today it was kind of like rainy and 60. When I did the first class last week, here you go. Current time, 4:29 p.m., Thursday, April 29th. Anyway, when I did the first class last week, yesterday here in Ohio was 80 degrees. When I did the first class on Tuesday of last week, we actually had like 5 inches of snow here in Northeast Ohio. Isn't it great? 5 wonderful inches of snow here in late April. Crazy. We've had snow all the way out to May, so what are you going to do, right? Oh, yeah, here it is. This is a picture. My neighbor put this on Facebook. This was from last week at my house. Now, my house is actually over next door, but he posted this on Facebook. This is what we woke up to like last Tuesday, I think it was, or Wednesday. Beautiful, wonderful, gray, snowy day, and then like 80 degrees. So fun times. Ha! Charles, is it live or Memorex? I like to think it's live. I like this slogan though. That brings back some memories. That's classic. Yeah, we call that bipolar spring. Amen to that. All right, well, I'll tell you what. It is 4:30. Let's go ahead and kind of officially get started here. I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar. Again, it's called the Options Paycheck, and in today's webinar, I'll be showing you that breakthrough system I developed here at VectorVest that helps us generate safe monthly income in any type of market. Now, what I'm going to show you has really changed the way that I trade. I've been trading for 24 years, and this has really changed a lot of the way I do things. And not only that, I've seen it change the lives of a lot of people that I've taught this to. In fact, here's my promise to you today. You can begin making a paycheck averaging around $3,000 per month or more. Now, that figure is based on the fact that most of our clients are generating this. This is based on real life stuff. Now, keep in mind, this can be done regardless of market direction. It can be done with little to no prior experience. It's not difficult. You can do it safer than simply being a buyer or a seller of stocks. And here's the key part of this and what I love about it the most. You can even make money if your analysis is wrong. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to be right to make money. Now, I know that 3% per month may sound too good to be true, but the truth ultimately is here. A lot of our clients are doing even better than this. Now, in today's webinar, I'm going to show you the exact system I use to generate these types of returns. I'm going to show you case studies and examples of our clients who are doing this month in and month out. I'll show you the foundations of our system so that if you learn and follow it, you can do the same thing. You can reproduce the results. I'm also going to prove to you that our options paycheck system will get better returns safely, safer than trading stock or just options alone. Now, the webinar is built on results and not just my results. I've been trading a long time. It's not about me. It's about, can this process that I created be repeated from people that I've actually shown it to? So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you the people that have done this and are doing it consistently. Like Brian, who turned $6,000 into a $23,000 profit in 10 months. John, he grew his IRA by 112% in 12 months. Bob had a 71% ROI in 4 months. Mike generating $3,000 per income in his first 4 months. I'll show you how Bruce, one of my clients, grew his account from $100,000 to $497,000 in 3.5 years. And I'm going to give you other client success stories as well along the way. Now, here's an example of the trade I'm talking about. This is Costco, right? I've made a lot of money on Costco over the years. It's been a very good stock for me. Costco had a great looking chart at the time. This is from a while back, so it's not like current. But Costco had a great looking chart at the time. Price was rising. It had rising earnings. Everything looked good. If you would have went out and bought the stock, not so good. Because over the next couple of weeks, it went up a little bit, down a little bit, but it only rose about 1.4%. That's not so great. But the paycheck system I'm about to show you, you don't have to be exactly right on direction. With our paycheck system, one trade with that 1.4% move would have resulted in a $955 profit. Like Frank. Frank actually was one of our students. He posted on the Facebook forum that we have that he made $955 on that trade. Now imagine several of those a month, 3, 4, 5 trades a month. Are you going to have some losers? Sure, you're going to have losers. But the paycheck system averages over 70% winning trades. That is what gets you that consistent net income. Now today, I'm going to show you the trade that does that. So if that sounds pretty good to you, do me a favor. Turn off all your distractions. Close your door, turn off your cell phone, close down other windows on your computer. I don't want you multitasking because you might miss something really key and relevant. You want to stay focused and give this your full attention because you're going to be learning something that I think can make a huge positive impact on your life. I really do think it can. Now, I mentioned before that my name is Ron Wheeler. I'm the options income coach / manager of options trading here at VectorVest. This is now my 24th year of trading. I started out back in '97 as a commodities trader. I traded things like gold and corn and wheat and rice and Kansas City wheat and all that stuff, right? I opened up my first trading account, completely lost it all. Opened up my second account, completely lost it all. I'm stealing a line from the movie My Cousin Vinny. Third time's a charm? Not for me, it wasn't. Completely blew that account out as well. The reason I was losing money was because ultimately, now I say this with clarity now, 2020, I can always look back and see what my problems were. The reason I lost money at the start is because I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. If I bought something, it had to go up. If I sold something, it had to go down. It was a zero-sum game. So you had to be really, really adept at market analysis. And that takes time to learn. It really, really does. Well, here's kind of a hidden story on that. I actually worked for a company at the time that developed trading analytics software, right? But I was still losing money. So I stayed in the industry. I got some help from our founder. I got some help from other traders that worked with me. And I kind of sorted out what my problems were. So if I was like most people, I probably would have quit trading and never looked back at it again. But since I worked in IT for a trading firm, I stuck with it because I knew there was profits and I knew there was potential there because everybody around me was trading successfully. So I stuck with it. Now, Once you learn good, adept analysis, there's a second thing you have to learn. You have to learn money management. It doesn't matter if you are 70% right or 80% right on all your trades. If you're making $100 every time you win and you're losing $600 every time you lose, it doesn't matter that you're right 8 out of the 10 times or 7 out of 10 times. You're still not going to make money. So you have to have a balancing act as a trader. You have to balance being good at analysis. Then you have to analyze, or you have to keep that balance of good risk and reward. And honestly, it's very difficult. It's why a lot of traders fail. They fail because it's a very difficult game of keeping those two things balanced. Now, I was not an options trader when I first started doing this. Not at all. Not an options trader. I didn't like options. I had too many horror stories of people that bought options about they were right on their analysis and still lost money. Well, one of my clients actually was a very adept, very good options trader. In fact, he traded options for a large hedge fund. And he used our analysis that we taught him, but then he applied it to the options market. He came to our office one year because he was going through Northeast Ohio, and I met with him. He's like, Ron, you and I have been pretty good friends. He's like, I want to show you some of the options stuff I do. I know you're, like an options hater, but I want to show this to you. So he did. And, what caught my eye was he would take a trade and I would take a trade on the same thing. But he set his up with options. If my trade worked in my direction, I made money. If his trade worked, it made money. If I went sideways and the market didn't do what I wanted it to do, I broke even. He still made money. If it went down and hit my stop, I lost. He still had a chance to win. He completely flipped my understanding of options around, and it intrigued me. So at that point, I started dabbling with options. Now, I want you to think of the pressure that would take off you. If you took a trade and you were right and you made money, well, that's easy, right? Everybody does that. But what if you took a trade and you were wrong and you still made money? That's the key. That's really what flipped me as an options trader. And I started focusing more on that. So, long story short, another decade goes by. I start trading options primarily because I loved it that much. Now, today's journey, here's what we're going to cover. I'm going to cover the key strategic shift to generate income safely from the market. How to win even if you're wrong. You're going to see the real problem that's holding you back from winning a lot more than you lose. And I'm also going to show you how to do this with little risk. Avoiding the big mistake that most people make and what you need to do to place those low risk trades. In fact, again, this risk will be lower than if you simply bought or sold stocks. And I'm going to show you a bulletproof system that you can use in as little as 15 minutes a day to start generating this income. This is what my clients do. Now, over the last decade, I've really fine-tuned this paycheck concept, and I've really made it so anyone can do this. I've really reduced it down to things where if I saw people struggle with something I taught in the past, I would readjust it so everybody could understand it. I learn from you as well as hopefully you learn from me. So here's the thing. If that all sounds okay to you, do me a favor. Just type me a yes in the chat window. Just let me know you're still here, still listening, and all that good stuff, and we'll kind of run through and kind of get this thing ticked off. All right, Antoine, you are first, and Charles, and Gilberto, and James, and Lori, and Daniel, and Elon and Suzman. All right, Kobe, welcome to you too. All right, good. Now, why is this important? It's an important topic because I'm going to ask you a question. Now, you don't have to answer this in the chat or anything, but why do we work in the first place? If you surveyed 100 people and asked them why they go to work, you might get a bunch of responses like, well, it's a contribution to society. It gives me a sense of achievement, purpose. But I guarantee the overwhelming answer to this question would be for the paycheck. The paycheck enables us to live hopefully well today and put away enough for the future so that one day we won't have to work. Now, the hard truth is this. Without a system to help you generate the income you need, you're stuck trading time, i.e. your life, for money. Now, without an income system, it's on you, and that creates a number of problems for us. If we aren't retired, it keeps us stuck in a situation where we have to work in order to live. That's trading time for money, okay? It keeps us stressed. Financial problems are one of the leading causes of stress in relationships and health. It'll keep us working. We can't stop until we have enough money, but we don't really know what that is. So we keep working to get enough, just like the hamster on the wheel. We're taught to work for some future event called retirement when we can finally stop working so hard and enjoy ourselves. Now, in my opinion, working to save enough for retirement on its own, that's really not the best approach. If you're already retired, you might be watching that nest egg get depleted faster than you could fill it. And if it goes too far, you may have to get a second job, give up on your investing, go back to work. Worst case, you'll run out of money, or your standard of living will drop and you can't live that lifestyle that you want. But with a system that helps you generate income, things are a lot different. And I believe this is probably the key point of the webinar. So pay attention and write this down. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. And this is why most of us spend the majority of our lives working for a paycheck. However, in order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments that cover your expenses and needs. So let me say that again slowly. There's a lot of words there. In order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. Now, whether you're still working or whether you're retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets that you can have. Now, let me be clear. I'm not suggesting that you take our course and then quit your day job, but when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, things will change. If you're still working, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, having that consistent source of income, it's like you quit your job, but they keep paying you. It's basically a tap that you can turn on whenever you want. That allows you to do the things that you want to do now and when you retire. And that's why today's webinar is important. When you've got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire sooner. When you have a system, it can help you live wealthier, not deplete your nest egg. And again, I believe this is one of the most important points of the presentation, so I'll say it one more time. When the income from our investments exceeds our living expenses, we become financially free. We have the ability to retire. In my opinion, generating income is more important than how much we earn in our jobs. We work so we can generate income to live. We can stop doing that when the income from our investments is enough for us to live. And you'd actually be surprised. One of the biggest questions I get is, well, how much money do I have to start doing something like this? Well, here's an example. Brian's a client of ours. Great example of how easy you can get started. He had some health problems and needed a way to supplement his income. By using the Paycheck system, he was able to generate $23,000 in profits by starting with just $6,000. He achieved 100% winning trades in 10 months, 31 of 31 winning trades using our most basic system. Now, the key point here, this isn't beginner's luck. It was the result of following the system. That system is what enabled him to do this type of return. Now, to do that, I talked about a strategic shift. To do that type of trading, you're either going to continue being what we call a gambler, where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Now, being an option seller is the way that you can generate consistent income. It allows you to win even when you're wrong. Now, the reason you want to be the casino or the house, if you will, using the gambler analogy, well, number one, the house always wins. And number two, the reason that the house wins is because they control and they stack probability in their favor. The Paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. The house always wins because it stacks that probability in its favor. So the obvious question is, how do you do it? Well, again, the first step is to shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of shifting from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking that probability. Now, prior to working with us, he said he had mainly taken stock tips from brokers. Bruce focused on our SPX income system, which is our basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100,000 to 497,000 in 3.5 years. He said he's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options Paycheck system. And the whole system takes him around 15 minutes per day. So let me show you how this works. Here's an example of a typical trade that you've been taught to make. You find a stock that you like, you think it's going to go up, so you either buy shares of it or maybe you call. Why do you buy a call option? Well, mainly when you started learning options, it's what you were always taught to do. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Either the stock doesn't go up, it doesn't go up enough, and that call you bought ends up expiring worthless. Has that ever happened to you? Well, what's the problem that's causing you to lose? And by the way, this is one of the reasons I stayed away from options. I had too many experiences like this. Well, most people feel that maybe they picked the wrong stock. Their analysis is incorrect. Maybe it was the wrong strike. They don't know options well enough. Or maybe they picked the wrong expiration, not giving it enough time. Well, I want to talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not necessarily your fault. That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But when you buy an option, the probability is not on your side. And for most people, they buy and lose, buy and lose, and buy and lose. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. That's how you get ahead of everyone else. That's how you put probability on your side. That's how you win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. Now, as a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner because when you buy, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. Now, instead of having that buyer's mentality, we are going to have a seller's mentality. Instead of hoping a stock goes up, as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability. Now, probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of needing the stock to go in your direction, you can pick a price down where that arrow is and say this: as long as the stock doesn't go down to here, I can still be profitable in this trade. Now think about that. You can pick a price down there where that yellow arrow is, and as long as the stock stays above it, you are profitable. If the stock goes up, like you think it will, you make money. If your analysis is wrong and it goes sideways, you make money. If the stock goes down, as long as it stays above that arrow, you still have a chance to make money. Remember, I told you not every trade was going to work, right? They occasionally will go down below that arrow and you'll take a loss. But right from the very beginning, probability is in your favor. And in certain conditions, we can even increase that probability even more. You simply choose lower prices, which gives you a bigger area where you can be right. Now, a lot of the trades that we do start off with that base 70% chance of success. And the only way this can be done is as an option seller. Okay? As a seller, you're putting the probability of your success in your favor. This is a definition of what an income trade is all about. An income trade is one where you can make money even if you are wrong on direction. Now, Mike, great example of somebody here that did the strategic shift. He dabbled with options, but he said he lost on each trade. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating it's got to be to lose on each trade? Well, eventually he stopped trading for a while. He didn't feel comfortable with it, right? He said he didn't have any set criteria for his trades. Now, what Mike and I did is we worked together. He took the Paycheck system, and I taught him this. He said he immediately became an income machine. After learning, he went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. The key lesson here is this: going from buyer or gambler to seller, or in this case, like the house, right? That completely turned his situation around. Now, he was so proud of his success, he even sent me his spreadsheet of his trades. Notice the number of winners, that's the profit side right here, to the number of losers. Now, also notice the length of the trades. One in there for 2, a couple for 7, some 10s, an 11, a 13. On average, these trades last 7 to 11 days. They're not day trades. They're not something you're typically going to be in and out of in just a few minutes. They last a little bit of time. Okay? So they're not day trades or anything like that. Now, in fact, our most basic system, which trades just the S&P 500, has averaged over 85% winners. You're placing trades that have a high probability of winning. So think of it like this. Instead of being the gambler who loses money, you're going to be the casino where the odds are stacked in your favor on every trade. Now, the key takeaway is this. To be an income trader, I'm going to use a baseball analogy, right? Home runs look great. They're awesome, right? But singles are the ones that really win the games in and out. The single, the guys that get on base, if you hit 3 solo home runs a game, that's not going to help you. But if 2 guys in front of you hit singles, now that becomes a 3-run home run. Those guys that hit singles and get on base, that's how runs are scored. Okay? That's what we do as income traders. I'm not looking to make 600%. I'm looking to make a small piece at small risk and win a lot of times. That's what we do. Now, you've seen simply by looking at what Mike did, right? Going from the point where he wasn't winning at all, from being a buyer, to being a seller where he wrapped and hit that profits immediately and he started making income. What we're going to do is stack the odds even further in your shape by understanding and capitalizing the 3 most common buyers or gamblers' mistakes. And the first one is simply this. Option buyers choose unrealistic option strikes. They choose strikes that are so far away, the stock has very, very little or no chance of hitting it. Here's a stock, right? Let's say that someone was bullish on the stock. Well, a lot of option buyers make a mistake by thinking, all right, the stock's going to go up, so I'm going to go all the way up here and buy a call, right? Why do they do it? It's a cost issue. If you went out there and bought the correct call, this might cost you $1,000. But I can go out here to 230 and I can buy one for 50 bucks. And people get the lottery mentality on these. Well, Ron, I only have to pay 50 bucks on this, and if the stock goes to 260, I'm going to make like $3,000. Yeah, and that's true if the stock does that. But you're playing the lottery. 95% of the time, that's not going to happen. In fact, 99% of the time, that's not going to happen, right? It's the lottery mentality. Now, there always will be buyers out there that do this. We're going to be the one that sells them that option. You're selling an option that has a low probability of getting hit. Okay? Now, what do I mean by getting hit? If I went out there and sold somebody a $230 call on whatever stock this is, and if it doesn't get hit, that means the stock would have to go from $215 up to $230 a share. That means that option gets hit. That's what I mean by that, right? Since it has a low probability of getting hit, that gives us a high probability of winning. And the same goes for puts. There's people out there that buy puts way below the market. Now, some people do it as a protective measure for their stock. I will be happy to sell them protection because I know that that protection very rarely gets hit. They're happy because the stock stays up and they don't have to worry about it. I'm happy because I sold them something that expires with no value, right? Now, of course, there's also people that buy those puts below the market because they think a stock is going to go down. And again, instead of buying a put where the stock price is that might cost them $1,000, they go way down there and buy something for 50 bucks. It might be cheap insurance, but it might be a lottery play as well. And listen, since there's people out there that do that, I'm going to sell it to them. Because by selling them those options, I can generate anywhere from 60 to 90% probability of success. That's what I can do. Now, the second mistake that people make is they choose expirations that are simply just too close to the current strike, right? It's like when you go to the grocery store, you see steak, right? One steak on the left is $8 a pound, one is $30 a pound. They're both the same cut. Well, the one on the left expires tonight, the one on the right doesn't. As long as you take that thing home and cook it that evening, you got a hell of a deal. If not, you just threw $8 a pound away. The same is true for options. If you don't use enough expiration when you buy, you have a trade that's going to hurt you. This is called time decay. Now, an option has a built-in time decay function. And here's what you see. Over about 6 months of the life of an option, you can see the value of that option steadily decreasing in time value. But if you take a look right here, This is about 45 days from the expiration of the option. You've lost about 50% of the value in 135 days. But in that final 45 days, the decay picks up exponentially. Okay? That is where a lot of people buy options in this last 45-day window. And again, they do it because it's cheaper. What we're going to do is we are going to sell them those options in that window. Why? Because even if our analysis is wrong, that time decay quickly puts money in my pocket. The buyer of that option is losing value based on time decay. Okay? We're going to be selling in that last 45-day window. Let me show you a chart of Home Depot. Home Depot is another stock I've done very well with over the years. Let's say that you are bullish on Home Depot right where my laser pointing is at, okay, right at the edge of that pink line. Well, a lot of people would go out there and they would simply just buy an option that expires in a couple weeks. Well, the problem is it's too soon. Or maybe they'll give it another couple of weeks and buy one out here. Well, again, the problem is even that is too soon, because if the stock doesn't go up immediately and it just kind of hovers around like this, the time decay of that option will basically crush any chance you have of making money. Okay? As an option buyer, this is bad. As an option seller, this is where I salivate. I love this, right? This time decay is what gives me probability. And again, listen, there's always going to be people out there buying those options that are way too close to expiration. We're going to sell it to them. They are going to be the gambler. We will be the house. We're going to win this one. Now, a lot of people know those first two. The third one is not as well known. Not a lot of people teach this and understand this with options trading. They simply buy and pay too much for their options price. They buy what's called an overpriced option. Now, who cares, right? Overpriced. I got a lot of money, so it doesn't matter. Let's take a look at some stocks here. On the left, I've got stock. On the right, I've got a stock. Two independent companies, right? They're both around the same price, right around $76. But even though those stocks have around the same price, look at the massive difference in option premium. $9 versus $1.80. Why are they so different? They're different because of the volatility. The stock on the left has extremely high implied volatility. What that does is it boosts the price of the option premium. Now, who cares, right? Ron, I'm trading $1 million, $900 versus 180. It's not going to hurt me. No, the premium amount's not going to hurt you. You can totally afford that. But here's the problem. Let's say that both of those stocks go up $8 a share, right? If you bought 100 shares of stock, you just made $800. But had you bought the calls, that overpriced option on the left, you actually would have lost money. Over on the right, you actually would have made money. When you buy overpriced options, it makes it very difficult to profit. Okay? Now, what we're going to do as an option seller, we are going to go out there and identify when those options are extremely overpriced, because that gives us a very, very, very significant edge. Number one, it reduces the amount of risk that we have on the trade. Well, actually, I could say 1 and 2, it reduces the amount of risk. Number one, it reduces the monetary risk. We can take a trade where we can make $500 by only risking $400. Number two, that juicy premium allows us to get more probability. Because it reduces the monetary loss, we can sell an option that has higher probability of winning for us. So there's a couple different factors that overpriced option provides. We're stacking probability even more on our side. Bob, great story. I love talking to Bob. He was a cool interview that we did. Prior to working with us, Bob said he was making a bunch of the mistakes that we talk about, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he said he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times. In his own words, he came close to living under a bridge. Now, the option Paycheck system helped him turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He said he learned these mistake liabilities, he turned them into strategies to control and stack probability. In 4 months, he grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% rate of return. Now remember, in order to do what Bob did, You have to learn how to control and stack probability. You have to learn to be a seller. You are now the house. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Type this in the chat window. It's a good time for me to take a sip of water. Have any of you made any of these buyer's mistakes? Let me know. Type in the chat window. I'm kind of curious to see which ones you guys have done in the past. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. All right. Yep. Antoine, William, Charles, Daniel, DJ, number one, Peter. Yes. Oh, Billy. Billy made the comment, I've never done options before. Now, Billy, here's the cool thing. You're in a great place because you're not going to, if you know these mistakes now, and then John, you mentioned the same thing. You know what these mistakes look like. So hopefully as you start doing options, you can avoid some of these mistakes. And then I'm with Billy, Terry, you mentioned, and then Elon, you mentioned, definitely have chosen unrealistic strikes. And V and I, same with you. And that's kind of how I got started with options too, buying those unrealistic strikes, thinking of the lottery mentality, you know. But there you go, William. William's got a great answer. Made tons of money selling volatile options on Boeing, but usually lose on buying the calls. Yep. And then Andrew, number two all the time. All right, well, that's just a couple of the responses. Like I said, I can't get to them all, unfortunately, but I can only read a couple. Now, listen, at the end of the day, everybody's made those mistakes, right? I've done it too. It's not your fault. You were just taught a broken system, or maybe you were just never taught a system at all. Now that we know that we want to make that leap to being an option seller, we need to look at how to do it with little risk. Now, when a lot of people hear the word options, and especially the term selling options, they think it's very risky. However, the options paycheck system uses a low-risk strategy for selling options, which is why it's a core strategy that we teach all of our retirees. Now, why is reducing risk so important? Well, most people who try this and don't learn a good system, they're not preserving their capital. They may have one bad trade wipe out the gains from a bunch of losers. I'm sorry, reverse that. They may have a losing trade that wipes out the profits from all of their winners, right? That's the biggest pushback I get from being an option seller. Yeah, but Ron, I've done that for 6 months. I made so much money, then 2 trades came in and wiped me out. Well, that's because you used a bad system. You should never take a trade where that would happen, okay? We'll talk more about that as we go forward. Now, that makes it hard to recover losses. We can't do that. So you have to have a built-in protection plan. The right system teaches this. Now, I mentioned before that you should never take a trade that does something like that. You should know, if you are selling options correctly, you will know up front before you place the trade with your broker what the best and worst case scenario is. That's going to help you preserve and grow your capital. Like I said earlier, home runs look good, but it's those guys that get on the base. That's how those scores get to 15-4, 12-3, it's such like that, right? Now, one of the most common questions I get asked is, can I trade options from my IRA? Now, a client of ours, John, he does just that. And he said he grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using the Paycheck system. John had tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He said he learned to follow the system, and I can't tell you how many times I see that in our forums. I just got to follow the system. And he turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. In 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than double the size of his IRA while spending no more than 15 minutes per day on his trading. And again, those are his words, not mine. Now, the Paycheck system makes sure that you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk. We have a very specific criteria. But in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price, similar to what you would see here. Now, instead of selling an option naked, we sell with protection. Now, if you were to go out there and sell what's called a naked option, you get all of this risk, okay? You have, in some cases, an infinite risk. Hey, I just sold an option and made $100, but if the stock tumbles on you immediately, that $100 profit that you think you can make can turn into a $10,000 loss. You have to be very, very careful. What we do is we sell with protection. We shrink your risk down to only this. So let me show you how this works. This is a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's a great looking graph, very bullish, moving from lower left to upper right and all that kind of stuff. Traditionally, what would you do? You buy a call right here, okay? Or maybe you buy the shares, I don't know. But we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to be the buyer, we're going to be the seller. So when we see a stock that we think is going to go up, we are going to sell a put. When we see a stock that we think is going to go up, we sell a put. Okay? So using probability, I would sell a 135 put and I would collect $200. I actually get paid $200 here. Now, that $200 put comes with some obligations. I could be forced to take the stock at 135 if the stock moves down far enough. Now, I have never actually traded a stock from a position like this. I've never actually been assigned a stock transaction. It just doesn't happen, right? But I do carry the obligation that I may have to buy the stock at 135. Well, what happens the next day if something catastrophic happens and whatever stock this is, it opens up at $110 a share? Okay, great. I just made $200 on an option I sold, and now I own a $135 stock, possibly for $110. That's a serious problem. Yay, I made $200 from selling an option, but now I just lost $25 a share on 100 shares of stock. Oh, you know what, right? That can happen. We don't ever want that to happen. So here's what we do, okay? You have no downside protection. So what we do when we sell that put, we use a little bit of the premium that we collected to buy an insurance policy. And that reduces our risk to only this. We sold an option for $200. We bought an insurance option for $100. Now we only have $100 in possible profits. But here's the cool part. If tomorrow this stock opens at $110 a share and I am forced to buy the stock at 110, guess what? This option right here allows me to sell that to some poor other guy for $130. I've just locked in my risk on this trade. And by the way, that's hypothetical because I've never had to do that. I've never, in over a decade of trading, that's not something I've ever had to do. In over a decade of being an option seller, I've never had to perform a stock transaction. It's all part of the system. You'll never have to. I'm just kind of showing you hypothetically what could happen, right? So you are protected though, and that's the key. You're protected, and you get paid $100 to place this trade. If you took this on 10 contracts, that's $1,000, okay? Now the cool part about this is this. If the stock goes up like we think it's going to do, you're going to make your $100. If the stock goes sideways, you're going to make $100. If the stock goes down, guess what? You're going to lose a little bit, but you're not going to get hammered on the trade, okay? That really is the beauty of this kind of system, all right? All right, let's take a look here. I want to get something kind of queued up. All right, give me 1 second. I want to get something queued up to show you guys here in just a second. All right, cool. I wanted to show you. All right, so here's what I want to do. Let's do this. I want to use a few examples of some trades that I did with my clients to help you better understand how to set them up, okay? So make sure you're listening here. I want to show you some numbers now, so you want to make sure you're paying attention for this part. All right, here's some trades that we did over the past couple of months, right? This is Goldman Sachs. We thought Goldman Sachs was going to go up. That was our goal. This was back in February. Now, I want you to get into the seller's mentality. And while you do this, I want to explain a couple of things for you guys here, right? I told you that managing risk is very important, all right? Now, let's say you think this stock is going to go up. Now, I told you the seller's mentality is we have to pick a price below the stock where I say that, okay, I'm going to choose 285. Now, I can make money on this stock if it goes up, sideways, or stays above 285, I'm profitable. Now, stuff like that looks really, really good on paper. But here's the problem, okay? Here's my problem with this. You also have to manage risk and reward. Remember how I told you that one bad trade can wipe out a bunch of winners? You have to manage your strikes carefully. I can't just go down here and say, okay, I'm going to say 265. Now, Ron, if the stock goes up, I make money. If it goes sideways, I make money. As long as it stays up above 265, I make money. That's great, but here's the problem. That trade right there may make you $50. And if it goes down to 265 and you have to exit the trade, you might lose $2,000. That's not good, okay? You have to balance this. You have to find a price somewhere between the current stock price and 310 where I can sell an option and get this to be about where I can make maybe $100, okay, and then maybe only risk 120. But I can do this at a 70% winning clip. All right? So now that you kind of know the details a little bit, what do you guys think? The stock was 310. Where do you think that scenario occurred? Look at this graph. Was it at 305? Was it at 295? Was it at 285? Get into seller's mentality and tell me, where are you comfortable saying Goldman Sachs is going to go up, but I want to make money as long as it doesn't come down to somewhere? What do you guys think? Get into that seller's mentality. All right, 270, 290, 285, William. John's at 295. Sell at 310, Peter. Antoine, Vinay, 285, 295. Gilberto, Suzmet, 280. Peter at 300. Let's see here. I think I mentioned Steve at 270. All right, so take a look here. Here's what we got. This is where I actually did the trade. I actually did this trade, by the way. This isn't like made up. I took this trade at $300. So the stock at the time was at 310. I did it at $300. I sold a $300 put and I bought a 290. That $300 put met two requirements. Number one, it gave me as much probability as I need, at least 70%, and it maintained a good balance of risk and reward. Okay? So for those of you, if you guys use Thinkorswim, you'll recognize this. This is my trade in my Thinkorswim application. I sold the trade on February 16th at $12.35. I collected $157 in premium. Okay? On February 24th, I exited the trade and I paid the broker 79 cents. That's how these trades work. When you enter the trade, you get paid $1.57 a contract, or $157 per contract. When I exit the trade, I have to dig into my pockets and pay. So I had to pay the broker $79, and now I'm done with this trade, and I collected basically 50% of the premium. I made $390 in 8 days. Now, here's an example of a stock from last year. This was last fall, Tesla. Tesla had a very nice uptrend. It broke above resistance. Let's zoom into this a little bit closer. Tesla at the time was about $525. I want you again to get into that seller's mentality. You think Tesla's going to go up, right? But where are you comfortable saying, I think it's going to go up? Let me get my pen out. I expect it to go up, but where down here do you think is the proper balance of probability and risk reward? Now, remember what I said about, you can't go too far, because that's where you start getting those trades at one winner or one loser wipes out winners. All right? What do you guys think on Tesla? And ladies, I know there's both in here. I don't want to make, be wrong there. All right. So 500. Susan, you'd mentioned 480 from John. William, 475. 490 to 500. Antoine, 450. Gilberto. DJ, 375. 475 for Sriche. Peter, 500. Nor, you mentioned 490. Larry, 475. William, you mentioned Tesla's very volatile. Yeah, I've gotten more comfortable trading Tesla in the last probably 6 months than before. Tesla's something I stayed away from for a long time, but then Tesla, I felt like it got a little bit more calm for me. So I've taken a few trades in Tesla now in the last couple of months. All right, well, good examples, guys. Here's where it was. I took this trade at 485. So basically, here's the deal. The stock was at 521. I now had $35 in space on Tesla. Now, you can look at it and say, Ron, Tesla can move $35 a day. I know, but this trade also had the perfect balance of risk and reward. Okay? I made $880 in 2 days on that stock. On November 23rd at 244, I exited the trade for $1.95, and I ended up getting out of that at 85 cents on 11.25. Okay? They made a really nice pop on Tesla. All right? Now, let me introduce another client. His name is Jim. Now, prior to working with me, he said his results were very inconsistent, and he felt unsatisfied. He thought that there had to be something else better out there. Have you ever felt that way, like there's something better out there? He said he wanted a way to supplement what he was already doing and would provide more of a regular income and had a high probability of success. After learning the system of being an option seller, he told me that he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months, and his average trade was 8 days. Remember, the average trade is about 7 to 11 days. Can you imagine how that must feel to going from being inconsistent to where your trades are generating income at that clip? Now, I want you to think about that. Think about it. What could you do if you were able to implement a system and able to get that type of income? What would you be able to do? Well, in my perspective, my wife doesn't have to work extra shifts anymore. It allows me to not care about certain things. It allows me to do better things for my kids. Send them to private school. You know, that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that I can do. Swimming lessons, gymnastics, and all that other crap I got to pay for every month. Could have had a Ferrari, but no, I had 3 kids instead. I'm not complaining. I love my kids. Exactly, right? So, yeah, TJ, yeah, you get it, right? But think about what you could actually do if this worked and you implement it. And again, these are not bad stories, right? All right? These are not fake stories. These are actual clients that are doing this. All right? Now, we said before that buying is gambling and selling is about controlling risk and putting the odds of success in your favor to generate income. The options paycheck system makes sure that you have a guaranteed maximum risk. It all goes back to whether you'd be the gambler or you want to be the casino, because the house always wins in the end. Now, let's put this together. And I want to show you how you can have a bulletproof system that you can do in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, this is important because one of the biggest questions that people ask me is how much time is it going to take me? And it's a great question. And there's a challenge here. There are thousands of stocks out there, and you've got to know how to pick the right stock, the right strategy, when to get on, expiration, price, and all that kind of stuff, right? People feel that they can't find these trades very easily. It's like a needle in the haystack. With all this information, what do I look for? It takes a lot of time when you don't know because you're looking at all kinds of different stuff and going from guru to guru. You're trading blindly without a system. It's like a mouse running through a maze, bumping into wall after wall. You don't know where to go. It's stressful, and it's also disheartening. You want good returns fast. You want a way to identify the trades. With the right system, you can do this in as little as 15 minutes a day. But to get that, you need a system, and not just any system. A straight line system that takes you from the top to the bottom. When to place your trades, how to find them, how to set them up, how to manage them. So let me walk you through the pieces of the option paycheck system and in the order they should go in. Now, nobody else teaches option selling this way. It's like the secret sauce, if you will. There are 6 pieces. The top 5 build on each other, and then the 6th ties them all together. At the top of the system is market direction. A lot of traders ignore this, and they just go out and start placing trades. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish, bearish, or neutral, and you do it in conjunction with the market. Right now, for instance, we've been in a very bullish market. We're not placing bearish trades right now. Okay? By doing this, you're narrowing your focus. I'm not trying to find stocks in all kinds of different patterns. I'm matching my trades to the direction of the overall market because history tells us this adds probability to our trades. Now, once we have a market direction, and I use a built-in timing signal here in VectorVest for this, I need to find some stocks. Once you know that market direction, what are the stocks that are going to move in the direction of the market? So just trading stocks that you know, or listening to CNBC and reading IBD, it might not be the best choice. What you want to do is find stocks already in uptrends when the market is rising, and you want to find bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market is falling. Now, our option paycheck system saves a lot of time in 2 ways. Number 1, we look at 2 things. We look at fundamentals, earnings growth, things like that. And we also look at trend. Is the stock moving higher over a year? Is it moving higher over a couple months? Is it moving higher for the day? We look at trends, right? This is how we look at things simply. We kind of manage the data only to there, and we throw out a lot of other stuff that doesn't really matter. Now, once we find a good stock, then we have to work for the option side. Remember I told you earlier about how we're searching for that high volatility? That's one of the things that we pick our stock or our option selections for. We also focus and factor out upcoming earnings. We don't like to hold trades through earnings because it's very unpredictable. And we also have to choose our expiration so we're right on the right side of that time decay curve. Okay? Now, you can use a lot of tools from brokers for this, but we use a proprietary search tool in our option software that can find this in just a matter of seconds. Now, the trade setup. This is another part. We want to pick the one that gives us probability. Okay? That probability is based on the strike level. So as I showed you when we were picking strikes for Tesla and Goldman Sachs, right? We want to choose a strike that gives us a base 70% probability. But then we also have to manage our risk and reward level. I don't want to take a trade where I can make 100 but lose 5,000. That is known up front. Okay? That is known up front. Now here's what I want to show you guys real quick. This is my colleague, Brian. All right? Brian sent me yesterday, he said since November 16th, this was last year, right? So about 6 months, these are the stock trades that he did with me. All right? Brian had some issues last year. All right? And he said, you know what, Ron, I need to get back to basics and I need to start trading again. He's like, I'm going to start looking at your courses every week and I'm going to start trading with you. Guess what? In the last, and again, he doesn't trade a ton. That's basically 5 months of trading, which is 20 trades. It's about 3-4 trades a month. He had 16 winners, 5 losers, 76% win rate, $96 average win per contract, and $126 average loss per contract. 76%. This is what we focus on. And then I also snipped that last part in there. Ron, your guidance during the sessions and help make these spreadsheets really helped me. Okay? That's what good trading looks like. That's what a good risk reward looks like. All right? Management and repair. When you place the trade, you no longer want to be a deer in the headlights. No deer in the headlights at this point. Okay? You need to know what to do if a trade goes for you. Where do you take profits? Where it goes against you, how can you reduce the risk? How can you exit properly? All right? This is what we teach. We teach a profit target. We teach repair concepts if you want to. They're optional. And we teach how to properly exit the trade. Okay? Now, last but not least, you need a tool for speed and efficiency. You don't want to be spending all day on the process, so you need a tool that allows you to do all of these things. It should be something comfortable, right? Now, some brokers have tools that are better than others, and you might find some paid tools to be very effective. I use our proprietary tool from VectorVest called Options Pro, and that is built for this and saves a ton of time. Now, speaking of time, Hugh, that's what he was looking for. Hugh said he wanted a system that not only worked, but was efficient. Right? He was spending too much time managing his trades and not enough time doing the things that he wanted. Are you like that? Do you spend that much time doing things you don't want to do? Now that Hugh learned the Paycheck system, he said he has more confidence, but he has more free time and he can have more fun. He said in his first 43 trades, he said he had 38 winners and made 27 grand in 4 months. Okay? Now, I want to do this. Take your pen. I want you to look at that system. I want you to put a little star next to the part of the system where you're good. So for example, if you have a good way of finding stocks and you kind of know how to set up a trade, put a little smiley face or a check mark there. If you're not good at option selection yet or trade management or you don't have a good tool for this, put a frowny face. Don't overthink it, okay? I want you to take about 10 seconds and give yourself a star or a frown. Now, I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. Now, let me ask you guys a question. I want to read some responses from you. What areas do you need to work on? Because ultimately, we need to get it to where you have stars all the way down. That's how you'll produce income. Lynn, yeah, lots of frowns. Billy, same thing. Greed, yeah. That's a tough one, Nora. Greed, management repair, Oscar. Option selection, DJ. Mentioned send your kids to summer camp. Yeah, I know that one. So yeah, now this is good. I'm getting good feedback. 1 through 3. Trade management. A lot of trade managements for some reason. Well, not for some reason. It's just because you haven't been taught yet. But that's okay. All right. Now, again, you need to get that to all smiles. And the reason I share that with you is because I want you to understand what a good option system looks like. Okay? I want you to understand what a solid plan looks like. Now, listen, I can't know your exact reasons for coming to today's webinar, but I'm going to make some guesses. All right? Maybe you haven't really known what to do and you feel like you've been trading blindly, bumping from one wall into the next. It left you with inconsistent results, just like Jim did before he learned our paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Either way, you're just not where you want to be. Now, today I showed you the secret really to fixing that. And again, I think it's a secret that only 1 in 100 investors will ever know. And now you're a part of that group. You saw how it's possible to win even when you're wrong by being a seller. You can do it with very little risk. I showed you, Brian's examples from the last couple of months. I'll show you another trade a little bit later. You can do this with less risk than buying and selling stocks. And you saw the system to get consistent income every month. Now, I just showed you just a few of the many people who use this system every day so they don't have to worry about their retirement. You saw over and over that the secret to generating consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Now remember, you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows that secret. There's still going to be 99 other people who are going to do things wrong. They'll be buying and making all the mistakes we talked about. We can't stop it from doing it. There's always going to be people out there that are going to do it. So let them do it. Let them be the gamblers. As long as they're there, we're going to be the house, right? The house always wins. The options paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor. Just like Brian did. Just like Bruce did. Bob went from broke to 71% ROI in 4 months. Jim, inconsistent to 21 winners in a row. Hugh, more confidence, more free time, able to have more fun. Made over 26 grand in 4 months. In 12 months, John grew his IRA over 112%, 85% winning trades. So if you're like most people, you're wondering, how do I implement this in my portfolio right now? Well, you have a choice. Option one is you can do absolutely nothing and stay where you are. If you've already have enough to retire and you're not worried about running out of money, then maybe you don't need the paycheck system. And that's a great place to be, don't get me wrong. But if you'd like to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with 2 other options. Number 2 is you can do it alone. You can try to learn how the option trades work, try to figure out the direction of the market, learn how to analyze the stocks, hope you pick the right one. If you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, willing to do it by trial and error, some losses along the way, you might be able to pull it off. But there's an easy path. As I always talk to my wife about, honey, I like to take the path of least resistance. Let us show you. I'll walk you through each piece of the paycheck system, and in just a few weeks' time, you'll have a simple system to follow that doesn't take you a lot of time. So of those 3 options, ask yourself what's going to be easier for you. Now there's 2 types of people. Person 1 is someone who dreams about their financial goals, but they never take action to make it happen. Now person number 2 is somebody that's serious about this. They're ready to take action when they see a good opportunity. Now since you're dedicated enough to be with me to this point, I'm willing to bet that you're person number 2, and that makes you the perfect candidate to get started on your first options paycheck. So let me tell you what we put together. First and foremost is our options paycheck course. It's a complete A to Z system designed to teach you the entire thing so you can generate that consistent income each month. Now, our clients who've taken this course are making an average of 3% per month, but some guys who are a little more active, well, you saw some of those guys, right? I showed you Brian. Brian placed 20 some trades in 5 months. Then there's other guys that place 40 trades in 5 months. There's lots of opportunities. You set the scale of how hard you want to work, okay? Either way, they're doing it at a high level of success, and it's taking them very little time to do it. Now, we're going to start the paycheck curriculum by building what we call a strong option foundation. For those of you that have never traded options before, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work so you can confidently use them in your trades. In modules 2 and 3, I'm going to show you how to create those income trades that have that 70% or better success rate. In module 4, we're going to find and select the best stock and indexes to trade. Module 5, I'm going to show you how to set up the best options trade for that, making sure that you're maximizing probability, maximizing your return, all that you need to do. Module 6 is all about the deer in the headlights, no more. I'm going to teach you how to analyze risk, how to manage your portfolio, how many trades should I have at the same time, how much percentage should I have at any risk at any given time, how many contracts should I trade based on my account size. I'm going to make sure you know exactly what to do. And then Module 7, we have what we call the Trade Execution Planner. I'm going to show you some of the key things to look out for in your broker software. That way you learn how to trade and place these things properly. Now, one of the things that a lot of our users love is everything is down in a checklist. I put everything that we need to consider in a checklist that you can follow from beginning to end. That way you never miss a step. It's like a pilot, right? When someone's first starting out, that security blanket of a checklist makes sure that you do everything correctly. Now, before I talk about the price of the course, I want to make it low risk. So when you're thinking about the price, I want you to think about this. We offer a 100% money back guarantee on the course. You can go through the entire course, and if you're not satisfied that we taught you how to profit using options, you can get your money back. There's no risk. But it's not something that we just say, oh, here's your money back. You got to do some work. We know if you do the work, okay, you'll see success. Now, if you don't do the work, what do I mean by the work? Well, number one, you actually have to actually watch the course, whether you watch it live with us or you watch the recordings. You have to show, and we can see, by the way, that you've actually tried this. I don't want you to sign up and then say, well, you know, Ron, I just never looked at any of the class. I want a refund. All right? We'll try to make something happen for you then, but that's not how we do things. Another thing is you come to class and you say, Ron, I learned that I can't do these trades in my IRA. I'm going to tell you flat out, before the class starts, okay, make sure you call your broker and you can do these types of trades. All right, if you're doing it in an IRA or something. All right, again, that's kind of the example of what I try to talk about. So if you've gone through the course, you're finding that, you know what, I'm not getting it, but you've tried, I'll give you your money back. That's the bottom line. I've been teaching this course now for 6 years. I don't give money back very often, okay? Not because I'm a stingy person, it's because it's not asked of me. I put my money where my mouth is on this course. I know if you do the work and come to the classes or watch the recordings, whatever you want to do, you're going to make money on this. And you're going to be able to average that 3% per month. That's 36% per year. Now, it's funny that Brian mentioned my classes that I do. Last year in class, we did over 60% for the year. The year before that, we did over 50%. Okay? Here's an example, Joe. Joe sent me an email at the end of last year. Now think about this, right? This is the end of 2020. 2020 was a rough year. But look at Joe. I took your class last fall and wanted you to know my results for the past 10 months. That's basically the entire 2020. He took a journal to document every trade. Now Joe did 350 trades. That's a lot. Joe's spending a lot more time on this. I probably only take about 10 trades a month, just so you guys know. But Joe took a lot more. But he had 68% win rate with $100,000 in profits. His success rate over the last 6 months had been 78%, and over his last 100 trades, he only takes trades with a much better 2-to-1 or better risk-reward level. Thank you for teaching this simple but effective system. Like I said, it's not about me. It's about people that have done this before and are seeing the results. Okay? Now I'm going to make you a better offer than even Joe would be, interested in. If I told Joe, listen, Joe, you pay me $2,000 and I'll give you 100, he'd probably take that trade. Let me make you a better trade here in just a second. So before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something where you expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours, okay? It's a serious, requires effort. If you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it yet. It's not time. It's not for you. It's for people who are ready to take their investing seriously and who are willing to put in the time to learn this. So if you're serious about this and ready to do the work, the Options Paycheck course is going to be perfect for you. There's an entire 7-week course delivered live to you. If you can't view the live course with us, it's not a problem. We also have everything digitized so you can watch recordings. Okay? You'll get each session recorded and you'll be able to watch it with us. All right? Now, that has a value of $19.90. I'm going to give you a couple extra perks from this. One of the most popular things that I do is my S&P 500 paycheck system. A lot of people that do this, they like doing it on stocks, but they like to also trade the S&P because on weeks where they don't have a lot of time to trade, the S&P 500 can provide a very nice income for them just by doing one trade a week. with one ticker symbol, with one rule, with one profit rule, one stop criteria. I'll boil all of the Paycheck system down into one trade on the S&P 500. Okay? That's the beauty of this. I showed you that message from Brian. Brian taught his 14-year-old daughter at the time how to do this, and she was trading it. That's how easy it is. I'm also going to give you 7 mastery support sessions. Those mastery support sessions are along with our live modules. So what you do is you take the live module with us, and then we have a mastery session a few days later. That allows you to meet with me and my colleagues, and we go over any questions you have. Hey, Ron, you did this in the module, or I watched the recording of the module, I don't understand this. We'll go over it. We'll do questions. I'll show you my screen, all that kind of stuff. If you can't make the live portion, no big deal. It's recorded. We'll send it to you. You have it. Okay? Now, I know some people hate Facebook and have their ideas about Facebook. You'd find that I'm probably pretty similar to most of you on that. I'm not a big Facebook fan, but what they do offer is a nice way for all of us to get together. Now, if you don't like Facebook, I would encourage you to sign up for Facebook using an alias, okay? Make an email from like Proton Mail or something and sign up as an alias. Joe Q Trader, Joan Q Trader. Join our Facebook community. It gives you access to 12 months of live Q&A. It also gives you access to the other clients who are taking the class, and it's just a really nice group where we can all get together. Now, I mentioned Brian. I'm mentioning like for the 6th time. He said, Ron, ever since I started taking your classes again, this is my trade results. I run a weekly group coaching event for income trades. That's where the trades that Brian took came from. That's where the Tesla trade came from. That's where the Goldman Sachs trade came from. I show people that how I do this in real time with real money every single week. You're going to get weekly trade recommendations, and I'll show you how to manage those trades in real time. The course is 7 weeks long. I'm giving you 7 weeks access to that members-only group coaching. I am also going to give you 7 weeks access to the software I use. That's VectorVest 7 for stock selection and Options Pro for option selection. This, in my opinion, is the best tool to find, select, and manage your option trades, and it dramatically reduces the time you spend on doing this. You can do this with brokers as well, but I find that these tools are the most effective way to reduce your time of analysis. Okay? Plus, we can all use the same software while we're doing the class, which is always nice for teaching. All right? Now, for those of you that are new to options and you think it might be a little bit heavy for you, I'm also going to include a streaming options foundation course. So if you've never traded options, this will teach you some options basics, long calls, long puts, things like delta, some of the basic option foundations that you might need. Take this course. When the live course starts in a couple of weeks, or actually next week when the live course starts, you'll be able to hit the ground running. In fact, we had a couple students go through the foundation course that had never traded options before. Shun said he did 7 option trades and he hit 5 winners and 2 losers just from taking the foundation. Bobby said he paid for half the course fee with his first options trade from the foundation. So let me give you a review of what you're going to get. That full options paycheck course, 7 weeks long, live or recorded, or I should say live and or recorded. The SPX paycheck bonus, the mastery support sessions, 2 live classes a week basically, weekly trading and coaching, access to both the VectorVest and the Options Pro software, our Facebook group and 12 months of Q&A, and our foundation course. Now, that total value is $6,800. Here's the offer I've got for you, okay? I'm going to roll up my sleeves, work with a couple hundred people. I like to do this a couple times a year who are serious about generating income, even if you've never done it before, okay? You've spent about an hour with me today, so if you want to join me and have me take you by the hand and help you install this into your portfolio, then instead of $6,000, I have an early bird offer for you at $995. Okay? For all that, it's $995. Go to optionspaycheck.com. There's a big orange or gold register button in the corner. Click it. Now, before you go there, I got one more little special bonus for you guys today. Okay, you've spent about an hour with me so far. I want to give you a little token of my appreciation. If you go to optionspaycheck.com right now before the end of the live event webinar, I'll knock it down to $895. So I'll pay you that $100 for your time here. Now remember, this course has a money back guarantee. I put my money, I put my mouth where my, you know what I mean? I put the money where my mouth is. So that's why you know this is a live course, because I can trip all over myself, right? So I want you to know that I've got your back, basically. I will make sure that this class is of value to you. And if you don't feel like that, then you do have that out plan. All right, go to optionspaycheck.com. There's a big orange register button or gold register button in the upper right hand corner. Click it and you should see the $8.95 price. It'll say $9.95 at the bottom, but that's not where you got to hit the register button in the top right hand corner, and that'll get you to the page where you sign up for $8.95. Now ask yourself, how much is it costing you not to do this? How much money will you lose out by trial and error? How much potential profit will you miss out on? How much energy and time trying to figure it out on your own? And then ask yourself, how would things be better and different if you implemented this? You know, there's an old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you can be sitting under it now. The second best time is right now. Plant it now. That way another 20 years doesn't go by and you're looking back and saying, I should have planted the darn tree. Okay? This will be the day that changes things, not a day of regret. So, optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered before registration closes. Remember that $8.95 is only during the live class here. That's going to last probably for another 15-20 minutes as we go through a Q&A session. But you got to do it right now. Don't miss or you'll miss out. Now do me one favor. Do this. When you sign up for it, let me know in the chat window. We want to make sure, say, hey, Ron, I'm in, or Ron, just signed up. Just let me know that you're signing up. I like to see who I'm going to be working with over the next couple of months here into June. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and kind of flip the switch here. I'm going to bring in my colleague, John. John is my co-pilot on the Options Paycheck, so you're going to get to know John very well over the next 8 weeks or so because he's going to be in all the classes. You'll hear his voice a lot. So he's going to be answering your emails, helping with support. He's my co-pilot for this. So I'm going to bring in John, and then we are going to do a Q&A session of some of the questions that you asked during the course.
Hey, Ron.
Hey.
All right. I see John here said he's in.
All right, good deal.
Okay, I have a question from Lynn and actually from a few other people, essentially saying, is the course geared to the US or can you trade it if you're trading from a different country?
That's a good question. The answer is you can trade it from a different country as well. Now, here's the deal. I can tell you this. For those of you in Canada, you can't trade this kind of stuff in, like, I think it's called an RRSP account. You can't trade it there. But you can trade options really all over the world. But one thing I will say about this is the US has the most liquidity on their options. Everything I teach you is going to be applicable to options in the UK, applicable to options in Australia, because we're not going to teach you anything like proprietary that only US options do. You might have a little bit more or a little bit less opportunity with options because they're not as liquid, but this will apply to any country's options, yes.
The other question we've actually had quite a few people ask is with the regards to being able to just use the broker platform information. Can they take the course and then just use their broker platform to trade this strategy?
The answer is yes. Now, I started trading options over a decade ago. I started using VectorVest and our VectorVest Options Pro about 5.5 years ago. So I actually started this whole process by not having VectorVest and Options Pro. Now, I will tell you this. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're going to trade stocks, during the course, you're going to get an opportunity to experience the software and see how it works for you. Hopefully you'll like it. Hopefully you'll want to use it. Okay, but if not, no, you can do this in Thinkorswim and Fidelity and all that kind of stuff. We have a lot of users that actually do it, like the S&P with just their broker. So some brokers are better than others. Thinkorswim's probably one of the better brokers out there for this. IB is not bad. Fidelity's pretty good. So no, you can do this completely in a broker software. I'm not going to teach you anything that is, very proprietary, if you will, to do this.
Ron, quite a few people are asking about dates and times for the sessions. What are the dates and times?
Good question.
For when we start.
All right, cool beans. Later, I actually made a calendar for you guys for this. So this is our live course modules. Now the live course starts Thursday, May 6th. So next Thursday, 7 days from now, right? That's 7 days from now, isn't it? Yes, it is. 7 days from today. I didn't remember if today was Thursday or not. So next Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when the live course starts. That is Module 1. And then what you can see is for Modules 2 through 7, we switched to Tuesdays, but it's still at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I realize that that's not going to work for everybody. I've been teaching now for over a decade, actually about 15 years now. Actually like 20 years, really. I've been teaching for 20 years and setting up courses and webinars. I know that one time is not going to work for everybody. I get that. That's why we also have digital recordings. So you can watch the live courses with us, or you can do the digital. So don't feel like you have to, be there for the live event. Now, we also have those mastery sessions I mentioned to you. Our first mastery session is Monday, the 10th of May at noon Eastern Time. And the same thing goes there. Hopefully you can watch it live with us, but if not, it's okay. We have the recordings out there that we'll make them every week for you as they come in. You'll be able to watch that right after the live class. So we've got you covered. And then what you'll see here is May 14th, May 21st, May 27th, May 4th, 11th, and the 18th. Those are your mastery support sessions for the Paycheck. So it runs basically Tuesdays and Fridays for the most part for the next 2 months.
Okay, a couple of questions here. What kind of a refund policy do we have?
It's basically, okay, go ahead, sorry.
No, just saying on this course.
Okay, it's basically this. As long as you put in the work, if you want a refund, you can get it. That's pretty much it. It's not, I'm not Costco where you can take your used Christmas tree back in January and get a refund. I'm not that lenient. But listen, if you came to the class, you do the work, you watch the recordings, show us that you tried. If you're not finding it or if it's not working, I have no problems giving you a refund. Okay, if it's some other situation and you need another accommodation because something happened in the course, we can work with you. Don't worry about it. We're very, very flexible, if you will. But at the end of the day, I still want to make sure that you're ready to do this. You're putting the time and effort in. And speaking of, I'm sure that's a question that's been asked too. A lot of people say, Ron, how much time and effort do I have to put in a week? You're going to need to have about 3 to 4 hours a week to do this course. Okay? Between whether you watch it live or you watch the recordings. It takes about 3 to 4 hours a week for you to actually watch the recordings or watch the live presentations and then do what we call the implementation phase, where you're actually going into your broker or going into Options Pro to do the work that we want you to do. We're very big on implementation, okay? Not just teaching you something random, but we actually want you putting it to work right away. So I kind of answered 2 questions in that one.
Excellent, Ron. You want to walk them through how to enter an order? It looks like we have a few people who may be having issues with entering the order.
All right, so here is the Options Paycheck website, and you can see that special web. Now, the special price of $8.95 does not end in 4 days. That ends today. The special price of like $14.95, that ends in like 4 days. But here's the thing. In the upper right-hand corner, click on Register Now. It was that gold button I mentioned. If you click on that, that's what you got to do. A lot of people go to the bottom and see, $9.95. Nope. Make sure you click on the Register Now link, whether it's here or at the bottom. Click on it, and then there it is right there. Enroll today, $8.95. Little star there for different currencies. Click on the Purchase Course Now, and then all you got to do is, I already have this, but you would just have to put in all your information at that point. So just register now. There's a purchase course link, and all you got to do is fill that out.
Excellent. So once they sign up, what is it that they get to see? Do they have access to all of the content? How does that work?
Unfortunately, yes. I say unfortunately because I built the Options Paycheck course as I wanted you to do it week by week with me. Unfortunately, our software doesn't allow that. So give me a second here. I'll log into here and kind of show you what happens. Once you sign up, you're going to get really right away, you're going to get a link that allows you to get into our site, our VectorVest University. Okay? Our VectorVest University. And once you get that link, this is what it's going to look like. This is the Options Paycheck package. So over on the left, these are all of your modules. Honestly, you could start watching the recordings of the course tonight. Okay. Now the modules are already there. We have what we call a master copy of all the modules. You could go into each module. You can watch Q&A sessions from the prior course. Now what you'll also see is you'll see like a Q&A. That was from my class I did last quarter. You'll see like a mastery session I did last quarter. Those get updated as soon as we do new ones. So when we do the first mastery session on May 10th or whatever it was, that'll be updated. You'll be able to go into our resources. You can get all the slides that you need, so you can see our cheat sheets, our slides, but you will basically be able to go in there and start the course right away. Okay, there's the SPX trading system bonus and all the other things, and there's all the modules. So yeah, you'd be able to jump in there right away and get started. The live course, by the way, and this is the key, the live course does not start till next Thursday. You're not going to get access to the software, nor will you get access to, nor you won't get access to the software until Thursday of next week at the latest. Okay, we time the software to start up at the starting of the live event. That way they're in sync with each other.
So, question, Ron, if somebody isn't available for the live sessions, do they miss out on anything?
No, no, you really wouldn't miss out on anything at all, because that's that website university. We're going to record the masteries. We're going to record the Q&A sessions. You're not going to miss anything. So you'll get to see all of the current Q&As and all that kind of stuff right up front. So yeah, no, you won't miss anything. No worries, we got you covered.
Excellent. I see here Will said he's in.
Excellent, welcome.
A question from Sir Chai. Do they have to be good at math to do this?
Oh gosh, no. It's kind of funny. I always say that I'm not good at math. I'm actually really good at math. I'm bad at arithmetic. I just have a problem adding and subtracting simple numbers. No, you don't have to be good at math. The broker, the software, they really handle everything for you. They do all the math for yourself. You'll have risk graphs that kind of show you how much money you can make on the trade, where you'll make money. Nah, the computers pretty much do all the work nowadays for us.
Excellent. How much time do you think they should be spending with per week with this course?
3 to 4 hours. You're going to spend about 3 to 4 hours a week with the course. So that includes watching whether you're doing it live or recorded, and then doing what we call our implementation. Going to your broker, looking for the option chain. Going to Options Pro, looking for the option chain. Just things that get you looking at the right things that you can start with.
Excellent. Let's see. Just looking through the questions here, Ron. Richie said they're in.
All right, welcome. You'll be getting an email with all the appropriate information here. Probably already got it. Make sure you check your clutter folder and all that kind of stuff.
Ron, when do they get access to the software, and what period of time is it for?
Good question. We start the software you'll get it officially May 6th. So we start Options Pro and VectorVest to coincide with the live curriculum. So you'll get that through the 7 weeks of the course. It'll start on May 6th, and then it will end the last week of June. The last full week of June, I should say.
All right. How long will they have access to that content?
You will have access to the content for 1 year. So while you won't get access to the software after the live course ends, everything I just showed you on our university site, you will be able to view this for 1 year. So after the course ends in June, you'll be able to see all of this, download the sheets, everything you need for 1 calendar year, so till June of next year.
Just a comment here. There are about 3 people who are saying they're having difficulty with the order system, whether it's passwords, etc. For those people, please call our product support team. If there's a password issue, they can be able to help you with that. As long as you give them a call, we'll be able to honor that $8.95 price. Just call them right after this is over, or call them right now, whichever is convenient. Let's see, and I think they want the number. Let me post. I'm gonna post to the contact us page So whatever country they're calling from, they can be able to get that for themselves. If you can see what are the questions they have while I pull that up, Ron.
Sure. Ah, Ian said Chrome didn't work. Edge did work for him. Okay, I did too. Signed out and back in. All right, cool. Excellent. All right, yep, got that one in there. Somebody asked earlier, I'll throw this out there. I normally don't like to show this kind of stuff because I don't want to get people too confused. Somebody had asked about, what is the absolute most that I could lose on a trade? Well, I'll tell you what, let me show you a trade that I'm in right now. And it kind of gives you an idea of how this works. Okay? This is a trade that I'm currently in. Now, what I want you guys to do is focus on this over here in the corner, right here. Okay? This is the most money I can make, $1,500. And this is the most money I can lose, $3,450. Now, a lot of people look at that and say, well, Ron, that's kind of high, right? No, this trade right here is actually really, really good. Okay? This trade's really, really, really good. Because first off, do you know how much the stock would actually have to move for me to lose $3,000? Now, I don't expect everybody to understand what a risk graph looks like and anything like that, but there's this dotted line or this dashed line. In order for John Deere, that's the stock I'm in right now, in order for me to lose $3,450 on this stock, the stock would have to drop to basically $325 a share. It would have to come down to this level right here. Okay? Then I might lose about $3,200. Now, we'll teach you this in Module 6. We're going to exit this trade if John Deere happens to cross below 370. So this trade has a $1,500 potential max profit, but the loss for me on this trade is actually only about $700. Because if it goes down below this price, I would exit the trade. So we teach you how to trade with stops. We teach you how to trade and understand when to exit the trade. Even if you missed it in the stock gap, yes, you might lose a little bit more. Okay, now I can lose $1,200 if it goes to 364. But you're going to be getting out of that position when you cross that option price that you sold. Okay, so like I said, I just wanted to give you guys an example of a trade that I'm actually in right now. It's actually down a couple $100 for me right now, nothing major. For some reason, John Deere was down today, even though the market did pretty well. That's why I traded with a little bit. That's why I traded with probability, by the way. Stock was down, I'm still fine. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what it actually looked like. Okay, so like I said, I know that not everybody's going to understand what that is and all that kind of stuff, but I want you to understand that in the grand scheme of things, my average winning trade for 2021 was about, or sorry, 2020. I don't have stats for 2021 yet, it's still April. My average winner on a stock last year was $750, and my average loser ended up being, I can't remember the exact number, but it was right around $900. Okay? Now remember, that is 70% accurate. So you are going to lose a little bit more on your losers, but you're going to have a lot more winners than you're going to have losers. That's one of the things that you have to understand about trading with a probability system like this. A lot of people say, well, Ron, I want to risk 100 to make 200. Well, the only way that can happen is if you're trading in that zero-sum game of it only makes money if it goes up. This is what happens when you trade where I can make money going up, sideways, or down. You have to sacrifice a little bit. This might be 50%, but this is going to be a lot more successful. Okay? And again, that's where, like I showed you Brian's results, where he had 16 winners, 5 losers, and take a look at that. $100 per contract average win, $126 per contract is his average loss. So think about that, right? Think about that per contract. On 16 trades, he made $96 a trade. On his 5 losers, he lost $126. Okay? 16 winners, 96, he made $1,500. See, that's decent. That's pretty good. Now, how do you do that? Well, you just don't take trades that don't look like that. Listen, I took this trade because it gave me this level of risk and reward. I don't take trades that would look like, this. where I go out so far, my win is going to be $1,400, but I'm going to lose $8,000 if it goes against me. That's a trade that you wouldn't take. I don't care if it's 99% probable. I don't take trades where I can make $195, but I have to lose $10,000 to do it. You just can't do it. Okay? I showed you a little bit more than I normally show my introduction classes, but that's kind of, just wanted to give you guys a little bit of maybe a comfort level right there. Okay? Welcome, Dawit and Daniel. It's good to have you guys with me for the next couple of months. Like I said, you're going to get to know me and John very well over the next 2 months. Like I said, John's my co-pilot through this. So you'll know us.
And then John on here also just got in. Wing got in.
Excellent.
Welcome. And then on our YouTube page, Sandeep also got in.
Excellent. Welcome to you as well. That's good. That means our YouTube presentation is going properly this time.
Yes, it is.
Last time, apparently, I didn't have Brian's voice in there, so it just was me. My bad. All right, what do you think? Are we reaching our end here?
Yeah, I think we got it so far.
Okay.
Oh, I see here a question. What if they're not available for any of the live sessions? How do they ask questions when they need help?
Good question. We have obviously at the Facebook forum, but here's the thing I will make mention. Don't call support. If you're going through the options paycheck class, don't call support for help. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes support can have a longer queue and it might, you might want to get an answer quicker. We give you a dedicated email, optionspaycheck@vectorvest.com. Send us an email because through that email, we've got a team that's monitoring that constantly. And we can typically, if it's an easy question, answer you very, very fast. If you need help with an installation, if you need help with the software itself, we can get you set up for somebody possibly to call you or work with you. So we have a dedicated email that goes right to me and John and the rest of our team that solely dedicate ourselves to options, the options paycheck, and everything about it. So you'll get a dedicated email that's the best line of support for us. That way you don't have to parse through anybody, you just get right to me.
And also, they haven't necessarily taken the course as far as course content questions. So they will definitely end up routing it to us anyway. So it's just more efficient to send the email.
Yep.
Ron, you good?
I am good. All right, well, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate you guys spending that last hour and looks like about a half with us. Thank you, John, for the moderation as always and the Q&A. Appreciate it. But for all of you, I want to wish you the best of success here in 2021. Hopefully the markets will calm down for us and make things a little bit easier with all this weird volatility. But for all of you that are in, welcome. And I am looking forward to seeing you guys in the next week or so, getting registered, getting in there, maybe on the Facebook site. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. It's going to be a fun time. I put a lot into this, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. On that note, I'll go ahead and we'll shut it down for today. I want to thank you again, and we'll see you at the next event. Take care, everybody.